Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. A little late this morning. Happy Sunday. Little lazy Sunday this morning for me. Just kind of laid in bed, scrolled my phone. It was a weird night. I'm going to get into it. Weird dreams. I want to talk about dreams. It was one of those where I woke up at like 2 a.m. thinking it was like 5 a.m. And then I woke up and thought it was 5 a.m. It was like 8:15. And I'm like, what? I never sleep this late. Usually I am up. Like, I typically don't wake up at 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. It's 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. or just 5 a.m. So to sleep right through it was a bit strange. Strange dreams as well. I had some weird dreams. Some were reality based, and some, well, sometimes dreams are like, what's the word I'm looking for? Based on like, is it like repressed thoughts or something? It's like, sometimes you wake up from a dream and you're like, why did I dream that? I wasn't even thinking about that. But somewhere in your subconscious, you were thinking about that. Now, last night's, like, the main theme of one of my dreams was this show. I need to get out of the house. And so it's reality based. And initially I'm like, do we start thinking, like, from a dream standpoint, are we proactive or reactive in our dreams? And this scenario is kind of both, because I had a dream about, like, am I the hobby evolution? Is it am I not enjoying it? And why am I not enjoying it? That was kind of like the theme. And I think it was because I've been at home, like, I left the house Thursday, and I think I'm just thinking a lot. And I think what my problem is that I'm constantly, like, in this basement, in this house, I'm constantly thinking about eBay sales, listing, taxes this week, all of this stuff. And I haven't had, like, a mental break from it outside of my Thursday night trip downtown. And I think this all resulted in, and it's not just eBay is my impressions are down, which is leading to, like, I'm listing. And what's kind of frustrating about this whole thing is you can list and list and list and still not sell things if you're not listing the right things. And I think where my frustration in slower sales is, I've been adding a lot of, not just, I added some 84 Fleer yesterday, which Glenn Hubbard sold for $5 right away. The snake card. It's not like I'm adding commons. I'm adding autographs at good, like, $2, $3, $5 for first chrome autos. They're probably $5 autos, but if there's a cut, like, and I kind of think of it from a lot of us are resellers. And so when we look at a card and we're like, well, that's a $5 card. You got to look at it from the point of view of a customer. And that's basically how I started selling in volume was, okay, I'm going to start listing things that I would buy. And if I would buy this, there's got to be a market for this, this, and that. And that's how you have to look at it. Because I'll buy Cubs stuff that, it's like, you could probably find it in $1 box, but if I need it, I'll buy it for $5. And There's a market for everything like that. You just have to find the buyer. So the frustrating part with eBay is, despite me continuously adding inventory and decent inventory, Travis Kelce, stuff that people are searching for, Otani still, Acuna. But despite listing all that, my impressions are still like decreasing. My traffic as recent as, I don't know, a couple months ago was averaging nearly 1 million impressions per day. And those million impressions were coming on, 42,000 listings, 43,000 listings. Now I'm at 45,000 listings. I continue to add decent stuff, prospects that people want. Jackson Holiday, they're selling, but the impressions just aren't coming. Now I'm recently averaging 500,000 impressions a day. My impressions are cut in half, despite increasing, again, my promotions. I have not scaled back to 12%. I'm still at 20%. Now, I haven't sold a single item with a promoted fee between 16 and 20. I think 16% is the highest that anything is sold. Most of them are still around 12, 13%. But I've got the 20%, and yet my impressions are still like dropping. And I think that's why I'm constantly it's constantly on my mind, because I think, well, what if this continues to decrease? Like, it's not just status quo, it's like down. Now I'm still making enough to meet my numbers and all that, but I'm looking long term. I'm not looking short term. Well, yeah, we're doing it. What if this continue? What if there's a decline? What if it continues? Part of me, these are the ebbs and flows as a business that you experience. And then all of a sudden the floodgates can open, and all of a sudden this coming week I could just be killing it. That's how it works on eBay, in business. Another thing that I have in my back pocket is there's a lot of volume sellers, and some of you may be listening right now, that you won't stick with it because it is this grind, and you get into this mindset where, is this worth my time anymore? If these impressions continue declining and I'm not making sales. The hobby is fickle. And there's going to be a lot of volume sellers that are in it, getting into it, have been in it, that are going to drop off in the next 12 months because they just don't want to deal with the ebbs and flows. It's not easy. When I started this, and before I started and after I started doing this full time, you could list just about anything and sell it. I mean, shoot, and this was long before I went full time, but at one point my daily sell-through rate was 2.3%, which is absurd. Let me just tell you, we'll do some math. Let me just tell you, if I was still doing 2.3%, well, I'd have at least one employee under my belt. That's over 1,000 sales per day at one point in time. Now, again, I was, let's keep it real here. When my sell-through rate was at 2.3%, the hobby was absolutely insane. Also, I only had 3,000, between 1 and 3,000 listings, and they were cherry-picked. I wasn't listing 84 Fleer Glenn Hubbards. I wasn't listing a stack of Topps Chrome Platinum anniversary. I was listing the best of the best that would move. Yeah, there was some garbage in there that just Elite Extra Edition autos and stuff that are probably still in my inventory. Actually, I know some of them still are in my inventory. It was easy to sell. We also had a lot less competition. It's a lot of volume sellers. Just look in this chat. Look on Hobby Evolution Facebook page. How many Fujitsu Ricoh scanners have been purchased? How many Car Dealer Pro subscriptions? Those people are volume listing, and that's essentially competition. Now, is it direct competition? No, because we're going to have different prices, different cards, all that. But the more volume sellers there are, the more it takes away from customer bases, and I'm going to go buy from this guy has a different deal. So, I think John Keating says, just sell cards, don't get gimmicky. I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, but you have to when especially if you're doing it full time. If you're just doing it as a side hustle and you're comfortable with sales, it's okay. You don't have to get gimmicky. Just put cards on eBay that will sell and you'll sell them. When you do it full time, if you're a volume seller, you have to get creative, because doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity. And it's insane to do that. So you have to zig. Okay, I'm listing 84 Fleer, 85 Tops, 87 Donruss. Why am I not making any sales? Well, because you're listing 84 Fleer, 85 Tops, and 87 Donruss. Do something different. Sometimes that takes going to card shows or wherever you go to source inventory and buy refractors and autos and Otanis and Acuñas. You have to zig. If what you're doing, because what we did a year ago and 2 years ago is not going to work today and is not going to work tomorrow and next year. You've got to constantly be evolving in your sales process. You've got to be throwing out coupons. You've got to be advertising. And another thing that's kind of gotten me like, God, what the hell's going on? It's not just with my eBay impressions. It's with Twitter, Instagram, like YouTube. Look at, we're 22 live viewers, and Cooter brought it up a couple days ago. We were fairly regularly, we were 70 live viewers, and Sundays are always down. My viewership hours and viewership is still like kind of status quo. Also, I haven't really been putting out, this is about the only content I do anymore is this morning show. I don't do, I found a Mike Trout in my Goodwill pet. I don't do that stuff because I just don't, it's just not. So I shouldn't get down about not having more views because it's something that I'm not really putting any time into. But yeah, look at YouTube viewership is down, at least for me, this channel. Instagram, I posted something on Instagram that typically gets like, I don't know, 20. I don't have a big Instagram account. I go on there every once in a while. And like everything I post usually gets, I don't know, a dozen to 2 dozen likes. And it's like, it had one like, I'm like, what? Twitter, I'll post something. It's like, oh, this is going to get, and it, like, no, but with Twitter, I can understand because I think it's suppressing the non-check marks. But then I look at check mark accounts and it's the same. It's the same. And maybe this was in my dream. Maybe this was in my dream. No, I don't think it was it was in my dream. So I was looking at my, some of the stats because you now have stats on your Twitter feed. And I cooked a crappy steak last night. We're going to talk a little food today. And boy, what a shitty mood I'm in this morning. I'm complaining about eBay. I'm complaining about Instagram. I'm complaining about Twitter. I'm complaining about the steak I effed up last night. But I think I did look at these Twitter numbers last night because I was scrolling through, and I think that's probably what led to my dreams last night, because I was scrolling through and I was looking at the numbers for these tweets. And at the time, I think this steak had 7 replies, 5 likes, but then it only had like 5 impressions. It's like only 5 people saw this, yet it's got 7 comments. This doesn't add up. But now it looks legit. It's got 1,800 impressions, but still 7 comments and 5 likes. So some of this, some of my tweets, it's like, man, this just has no reach. But I look at checkmark accounts, the same. They don't have much action. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, are people just swearing off the internet, not social media and eBay? Are people outside? Not here. I don't know. But yeah, I had dreams. So it was kind of like reactive dreams leading to proactive. So not only was it top of mind yesterday, but now it's going to bother me today. And now I'm going to try to, I did do a 50% coupon for previous customers. It's just like a 24-hour deal just to try to boost. I think I've had one person take advantage of it. It's like, but it's you have to buy 10 items. So you really have to be in the buying mood, because even though you get 50% off, if somebody sends you a 50% off 10 or more items, especially if you're not a volume buyer or you're picky, it's like, if somebody sent me a 50% off for 10 or more, and that's when you're doing sales, think about it in reverse. Think about it from your standpoint. If you were to receive a coupon from, say you bought from somebody on eBay, and they were to say, whatever, if you're doing 10% off 3 items, would that entice you to even look? Would 25, what is your personal breaking point to where you're going to see that coupon and act? Because I highly doubt, if you're running 10%, are you going to run and look at inventory over 10%? Probably not. Unless that person has something in there. It's like, oh, okay, 10%. But what are the chances of that? Odds are pretty low. 50% might move the needle, but if somebody sent me something for 50%, and it depends on the inventory, what am I looking for? It's like, well, and by the way, if you're doing a 50%, don't go jack up your prices. Don't go jack up your prices, because I don't know if it was somebody in the Hobby Evolution group or if it was somebody on Twitter, but I saw like a 50% off sale, and I looked at the inventory and it was like way, way overpriced. Like 50% is still double the comps, at least on a couple of things. So don't do that, because if I see that as a consumer, I'm not coming back to your store. If you send me a 50% off coupon and I go look and your stuff is 3x, 4x comps, and so even with my 50% coupon, I'm still paying double, I'm going to say, nope, you're not getting my business, because I expect that's how you're going to always do business. Even if you realize the mistake you made and fix it, you've lost a lot of potential customers for pulling that. So if you're going to run 50% off, just do it. Just run 50%. And I know that's a lot, but sometimes that's what it takes to move some inventory. And you can pick and choose. You don't have to have the high, if you just listed a bunch of hot stuff that's going to sell, you can make exclusions within your coupons and your sales on eBay. So keep that in mind. Let's go to the chat. So I apologize for my negative monologue here over the first 18 minutes. George, what's up? Good morning. Good evening to you. Dave, what's happening? Good morning. Maddie Ice in the house. We've got Kyle. Good morning to you. Barry is here. What's up? Donald Davis. Good morning. Todd is here. Good morning. Baseball games didn't go as I was expecting or hoping for, and I think I'm in the same boat. I didn't watch any baseball yesterday. It was college football Saturday, which normally I'm not like a big college football guy. But I'm like, what the hell? Oh, I'm still in college football scoreboard. Okay. October 7th scores. So Rangers beat the Orioles. Don't like that. Astros beat the Twins. Don't like that. Phillies beat the Braves. Don't like that. Hey, we got a win from the Diamondbacks. So I went 1 for 4 on the team. See, me rooting for your team is the kiss of death in the baseball postseason. I'm rooting for the Orioles, the Twins, the Braves, the Diamondbacks. So we got 1 out of 4. I had the Wisconsin-Rutgers game on. Wisconsin won that, which they should have. What else did I have on? I think I had a little the Red River rivalry going on. I think that was about it. I don't think I watched anything else. I did turn a movie on last night. After my shitty steak, I came down here. I was listing some stuff, and I saw something like an advertisement for a movie on Amazon Prime. Like it's Halloween season. It was called Totally Killer, and it's supposed to be kind of a spoof combining Back to the Future and Halloween, which are two of my all-time favorite movies, right? I love time travel. I love the Halloween premise. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And it's got other like horror movies mixed in. So I'm like, this is awesome. So I'm going to turn that on. So I read the little summary, and it said comedy, and it played like a little clip, and I'm like, is this a comedy? But there was like one, and it hooked me. The time travel hooked me. I'm like, okay, even if it's just a goofy ass horror or a goofy ass comedy, I'll still watch it because of the time travel aspect. And it was actually, I would consider it more thriller than comedy. It's comedic, yes, but it's it's definitely on the thriller side. It's kind of like Scream, where it's I would put it in the Scream category as horror comedy, where they kind of meld the two together. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's got Julie, what's her name? Bowen from Modern Family. She's the matriarch. Who else is in it? The one dude, he was on, I think, like PCU. He plays kind of like the oaf dad in a lot of films. I don't know his name, but I think he was in PCU. It was good. I enjoyed it. In fact, I turned it off early because I'm like, done. I'm going upstairs. So then when I went to bed, and I'm like, oh, I only had like 16 minutes left. I didn't even find out I watched like all but 16 minutes down here. And then I'm like, see, I am not committed to anything on television. Like, I can just get up with 10 minutes to spare and be like, I'm going to bed. And my wife she's like, it's 10 minutes. And I'm like, I'm ready for bed. Like, when I'm ready, I'm ready. I'm done. Okay. If I'm interested tomorrow, I'll go back and watch the last 10 minutes. So when I went to bed, usually I just throw Friends on. Friends, I don't think had started yet. So I saw that. I'm like, oh, I only have 16 minutes. I can get through this. So I found out who the killer was. And there was actually two killers, kind of like in Scream, which they alluded to that early on in the film. So it's called Totally Killer. And it's like Back to the Future meets Halloween with a little comedic, I guess Back to the Future is comedy drama. And then we've got horror for Halloween. So it's kind of all three of those. It's on Amazon Prime. Totally Killer. I recommend. I enjoyed it, even though I stopped at 16 minutes and watched it a little bit later. Big Harb's in the house. What's up? Good morning. He likes this Sunday timing. This is kind of like the Sunday timing for Hobby Evolution. Little later than usual this morning. It was 9. I was just laying in bed this morning. Scrolling on my phone. Donald's doing the Spoon River Scenic Drive this weekend and next weekend. Yes, 2 weekends of the Spoon River Drive. Where's Arn Dog? Arnie went on the Spoon River Drive yesterday. Double A Cards in the house. Good morning to you. We've got Stukes baseball cards and curiosities in the house. What's happening? James, what's going on? He says, oh man, got into it with some clown yesterday. He got mad. I bought cards he was comping in the showcase. So the dealer that sold you. So so who got mad? Was it the dealer that sold you the cards? And if so, why did he get mad if he sold you the cards? So who got mad at you? And which show was it? Oak Creek? Which show was it? I heard the Schaumburg show was yesterday. Somebody on Instagram said, because they were advertising as 300, and this is card show promoters. Don't do this. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. It's been happening a lot lately. Various shows across the country. But apparently Schaumburg was advertising 300 tables. Somebody on Instagram, and this is only one person's account. They said 300 tables, more like less than 50 or something. It's like, or I think that's what they said. I'm like, there's probably 50 at least. So it's probably an exaggeration, but you never know. So it kind of goes back to what I said about eBay. Don't do a 50% off sale and jack up your prices, because that goes like, I hear that and it's like, oh, okay, I'm not going to go to that show. Like it doesn't even, I don't even, because it's 2 hours away from me. If it was just down the road, I'd still check it out for myself, but I'm not going to make the drive. And that's what is scary. And this is a battle that I fought um, when I started the Madison Card Show, because we had a Madison Card Show that was very small. It was only like 12 tables, and it was okay for a small show, but it was not. I knew the market could do better, and it did. And that battle I fought for a good year and a half. And word spread like it's a really good show, and people remembered the old show, and they're like, nope, not going to do it. Not going to drive 2 hours. Not going to drive an hour and a half for that show. Until they finally get talked into it, they're like, oh wow, this is a lot better. This is a lot better. Max, what's going on? Moderation and balance is the key to anything in life. Amen. And sometimes I just don't choose moderation and balance. And that's on me. That's something I need to do to get better. It's actually a double-edged sword for me. It's good and bad for me. Right now I'm experiencing some of the bad. It's getting me down. But when things are going good, I'm pedal to the metal. And usually I am a positive reinforcement, and so I strive to do better upon following positive reinforcement. And when things are going good, I'm like pedal to the metal. When things are going bad, I tend to just kind of like slow down, and I'm kind of doing the opposite right now. Things are slowing down, but I'm like doing everything I can to like, okay, what's selling, what's not selling, what do I need to do? I'll see a spike, I think, let's see, not next week. Well, in about 10 days, I think. Topps Pro Debut comes out. So that's a new product. I'll have it, and boom, I'll see a spike in sales towards the end of the month because of all that. And that was purchased, paid for back in September, August or September. So that's like new money. Even though, yes, there's an expense, but that was expensed back in August. So that came out of my August ledger. My sales will come in October and beyond. But yes, moderation and balance. A lot of trading versus buying at card shows. So Max, were you in Stevens Point yesterday? How was that show? I'm curious how Oak Creek was yesterday. I'm curious how Stevens Point was yesterday. I did receive feedback from both Schaumburg and Des Moines. Everything I heard from Des Moines, the Capitol Convention show, was positive. Everything I heard from Schaumburg was negative. I had a few people say should not be charging for this show, admission for this show. It's especially when you have the spectacular next month. And Stevens Point and Oak Creek, I would assume like those aren't like one-off regional shows. Those are monthly. Well, Stevens Point's like every other month, I think. Oak Creek's monthly. I would assume you probably had some of the bigger buyers were either in Des Moines or Schaumburg. But I can't imagine it was much was taken away from those shows. Dan's in the house. What's going on? He says 4 for 17. Hit that like button. Thank you, Dan. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Hit the like button. George says, I think a lot of folks got money problems these days and have had some belt tightening with everything getting more expensive. That's actually something I wanted to talk about. But in here, I spent the first 20 minutes complaining and being negative. And I avoided the topic I was going to talk about because it was too negative. But George brings it up. I saw somebody on Twitter yesterday. It's a sad story, but sometimes when you read it and we don't know, everybody has different emotions and how they handle things. But sometimes when you're on the outside looking in, you're like, what are you thinking? Somebody's going through a divorce, and times are tough, and he having financial problems. And he's like, I don't want to dip into my PC. And it's like, because I think the person that posted this even said he was down to like his last $8 and he doesn't know. And it's like, life is bigger than your PC. Life is bigger than cards, your hobbies. Like, sometimes bad things happen to us because of the decisions we make. It's not bad luck. I had a former coworker, and one of my other coworkers, and he always had bad things happen. But 95% of the bad things that happened to him were because he made poor decisions. And so I had another coworker who was like, man, this guy, he just can't catch a break. He's like the unluckiest guy I've ever met. And I'm like, no, he's not. He makes terrible decisions. He is the reason he's unlucky. He makes his own luck. We make our own luck. And I'm reading this tweet and I'm like, oh my God. If in heaven forbid, none of us run into an issue where we get stretched and we have to dip into our personal collection or whatever to make ends meet. But if that did happen to me and those 40 cards, my favorite 40 cards in my Cubs collection, you're damn right I'm listing those on eBay or selling those. But again, we're not in that position. Would I be happy to? Absolutely not. It would suck. But it's not something that I would be like, oh, should I do this? It's not a question. If I have to do that, I have to do that. And don't be selfish. Oh, I don't want to dip into my PC. Yeah, it sucks, but hey, that's life. So that was what I did want to talk about. That was a little heavy. It's like, man, it's Sunday. And yet I start the first 20 minutes being heavy with all my bitching about impressions and sales and Instagram and tweets. So that was actually what George says here. A lot of people got money problems. And I think you're right. I think money is stretched pretty tight. A lot less people buying. A lot less people buying and less money being spent. We're still seeing good traffic. And I think Randy, the bargain boxer, mentioned it in one of the card show reviews recently, where it's like, there's still a lot of people in the room. Now, me personally, and everybody's different, we don't have an idea of how much money is actually being spent in the room. But over the last several card shows, I'm making about double what I was making a year ago at card shows. And I think and guess what? Guess why? What are you doing? I'm putting better stuff in. I'm restocking every show. That's on me. Guess what? We create our own luck. Oh, I didn't make any sales at the card show. My sales were down, but you brought the same showcase with the same cards and the same prices for the last 5 shows. Of course. And remember, it's a small pool. When you do shows, it's a small pool of buyers. It's the same people walking through that door. And if you got the same stuff month after month, you're complaining about slow sales, you got to look at yourself and you got to look at your showcase and be like, oh, I see the same people and I've got the same cards. They didn't want it last month. They don't want it this month. So yeah, I think there's a lot less buyers in the market. And I think those buyers are spending less money. Just like the bargain boxer said, the same amount of people are in the room for most card shows, from what I'm seeing. But yeah, they might be spending a little less money. Talking Tatis, good morning. We're enjoying a Native American summer day here in Bend, 80. Wow, we've got some fall going on here. It's been a bit nipply. It's been chilly here in Wisconsin, which it's Wisconsin. It's 47 degrees right now. Our high today, 54, which I enjoy it because we had a late summer. It was still summer up until a couple days ago. And then all of a sudden it got cold. It was like 85. And then the next day it's like 60. But it's hoodie weather and I know what's coming and that doesn't excite me, winter. But at least we have the holiday season for the first couple months. That makes me happy. And then we've got January, February, March, April, and then May. It's like, well, we might have summer in the future, but it's chilly. We are now experiencing fall. Max says, best advice I ever received in a commission, inconsistent income-based job. Put hay in the barn. When the going is good, put some cash away for when it's not as great. Absolutely. 100%. And that's what I tell people. What's your number one piece of advice? And there's actually a couple things that are equally important, but what Max says is very important. When things were going great back in 2020 and 2021, selling on eBay, I did a podcast interview with Rick Kampfer, who is an author. He wrote the book Every Cub Ever, and he had me on talking about the Cubs project. This was back in 2020. And so we were just talking, and I'm like, sales are great on eBay. And we're like in the middle of a pandemic, and here I am boasting about how great sales are. But it was true. And what did I do? I was very careful with what I could have went to card shows and bought whatever the hell I wanted, but I didn't. I did splurge on my e-bike. But I had plenty of, I didn't until I had enough money. It's like, okay, now I'm comfortable because I want to have X amount in my account, and I'm not going to go buy just whatever I want. I made a couple purchases that were, the e-bike, which until this year, I used regularly until this year. But then I bought just a case of Allen & Ginter just for the fun of it, not for the resale. And it was good thing I didn't. Good thing I did focus on the fun and not the resale, because I got smoked on that case. That was in 2020 or 2021. But that's the best advice right there. Don't spend money if you don't have to. You don't have to go to every card show and get inventory. I bought a lot of inventory over the last 2-3 weeks, and I'm good. My sales are slowing. I'm not. I'm sales are a little slow right now. So I'm not like, it's not, if something too good to pass up comes my way, I'll still purchase, but I'm not actively looking like, okay, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to try to make an offer on this bargain box today because I've got enough. I've got boxes and I've got an entire shelf in that room over there with inventory to list on eBay. So I'm certainly not at a disadvantage on inventory to list. But that's the number one. I think once you start, that's the number one piece of advice. Before you get started, my number one piece of advice is treat it like a business. And what I mean by that is don't spend your money. Only spend it on inventory. Make wise purchase decisions. Track every single expense. Treat it like a business. And at the end of the month, run your numbers. What are you making? Compare that to your income at your full-time job. Can you live off that? But also have a nest egg. Don't just do it for a month or 3 months and be like, hey, I'm doing it. And you're paying your bills, and you got to have a cushion. So do it for 3 to 6 months. Treat it like a business. Put all those profits aside, build a nest egg. After 6 months, or maybe it's 2 months, maybe it's a year. And if you want it to be faster, you've got to put the work in to get that money faster. Don't just say, oh, I can do it. Don't procrastinate. Don't say, oh, it'll come, because it might not. And then you're fucked. So that's my best piece of advice. If you choose to do this full time, before you even start, spend a good 3 to 6 months, run the numbers. What are you making? And if they just don't add up, and you also, put a multiplier in there, because obviously you're spending 40 plus hours a week at your full-time job. If you're making whatever X amount, multiply that out. Okay, I'll have an additional 40 hours per week. So maybe that multiplier is 2. Maybe it's 1.5. Maybe it's 3. Can you make it work on that? But build that nest egg to provide a little cushion. Ideally, build that nest egg to where you can pay a year's worth of bills with your nest egg. So you don't have to dip into your business account for any bills. That's my number one piece of advice. Before, I agree with Max. Once you're started, once you're going, don't just buy inventory because you can buy inventory and then all of a sudden your sales tank and it's like, oh shit. Keep that business account, keep money in that business, keep cash in that business account. Max says, I also think it may be time for you to put the social media down. It's so tight. It is. You know, the thing is though, I've really restrained my activity on social media, especially Twitter. And I think that could be why I'm not tweeting as much. And so that the algorithm, because I notice on my personal account, which I never use, when I post something on there, it like gets zero traction. But I post once a year or, a couple times a year on that account. So I think that's part of the, since I've slowed down my Twitter activity, that's probably affecting, kind of like on eBay. When you slow down activity, it affects the algorithm. When you stop listing, stop receiving countering offers, accepting offers, whatever. When you slow that activity down, it slows you down in the search. So social media, yes, it's a time suck. It's toxic, but it can also be great, depending on how you use it and how you interpret it. Talking Tati says, I was watching your file exchange video and you were talking over your live. It's like having a Bose stereo. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Royals 417. What's up? Good morning. TD Sports Cards in the house. Good morning to you. James says new Mosaic football is hot. Is that one of those if I can find it? Is it in stores? Retail? I'm certainly not going to buy hobby. Mosaic football is hot. And I'm trying to be keen that, and here's another thing that I have to be real and I have to look at this from multiple directions. I'm mainly baseball. What's the slowest time of year for baseball sales on eBay? Right now, next month, December. Although my sales last year saw a sharp increase in November and December. And you get some of those holiday spending. eBay gift cards are coming through. So that can be. But I'm trying to be cognizant of, okay, let's step away from listing baseball and let's focus on football. My issue is I don't buy much football. And that's a problem that I put on myself. So now, does that mean I'm going to go to Walmart today and buy $200 worth of retail? No. I do need to get out of the house. Maybe I'll check it out. But I do need to find some football. I mean, I listed a Travis Kelce football at boom, sold. Deion Sanders, boom, sold. So maybe I focus on that. I've been too focused on getting singles listed, and I keep talking about lots, and I am starting to finally kind of put lots together. I did list a couple lots last night. I put them away. 3 rookie card lots. Kyle Trask. Again, this is not like hot rookies or hot players. Kyle Trask. Who else was in there? There were 3 total that I listed. Oh, Desmond Ridder. Again, not super hot, but maybe I listed them last night. Today's Sunday. Maybe I'll get some action. Who knows? Max says, I see what you did, the TT. I see what you did, the TT. I don't know what that means. What's up, baseball card curmudgeon in the house? Bargain Boxer, Schaumburg recap. They charged $5 to get in. Tables cost $300 per table, advertised $300 plus. Looked like 125 tables. Seriously overpriced cards. Very few bargain boxes. One entire row had 2 bargain boxes. Wow. So yeah, there's another negative review on the Schomburg show yesterday. I had to take a hard pivot. A guy had cards in his bargain boxes, $5 per card. Too rich for my blood, so I put a big stack together, got them for a little less than $2 per card. Hard work. Yeah, there you go. Hall of Fame card collector, what's up? Good morning. This is a good question. I saw this pop up. I think you posted this in the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. Do I think Facebook advertising works for your eBay store? This is actually, I don't have an answer for this. I have an assumption, but not an answer. I've seen other eBay stores do this. I've never clicked on it. I don't think so, which is, and I do Facebook advertising regularly for my Madison card show. I have done a couple Facebook ads in the past for my YouTube channel. Remember, it's going to take, I would say, you want to do a minimum of $100, a minimum of $100 in advertising, and probably spread that over 5 days, $20 a day. You don't want to go under $20 a day. So I think $100 over 5 days. But again, remember, how many sales is that going to lead to? You've got to have a really good hook. If you do a 50% off sale and don't upcharge your cards, they're at comps and then an additional 50% off. Now you're also paying an additional $100 on Facebook ads plus your eBay fees. It's a real slim margin, but again, we can't base it on a transactional. We have to look long term on this. Facebook advertising is great for marketing purposes and in gaining customers that can be repeat customers. So it's something that I've looked up. I've gone to Reddit. I've Googled it. I haven't found a real good answer. One of these days I might try it because I am pretty familiar with Facebook advertising. But it's just, for me, I just don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze. So I really don't have a good answer. I would like to hear if anybody has done it. I'd like to hear your results. And I'd also like to hear the strategy behind it because I know how it could not work. I'd like, if it has worked for you, I'd like to know the strategy. You probably don't want to share that, but I know many ways it would not work. It's kind of like throwing the football. You know, more bad can come out of good. More bad things happen. What? 3 things can happen. 2 of them are bad. So I know the bad things that can happen with Facebook there's a whole bunch of them in how you set up your advertising. And I mean, you can set up and this is the thing, you can set up your Facebook ad perfectly. But if you don't have the inventory to make sales, to entice customers, it does nothing for you. So you've got to have that balance. You've got to have a good hook. You've got to have a good hook in your eBay store, and then you've got to have a good message to entice people to click on that link in Facebook. Is it going to work? I don't know. I've never done it. I am curious. One of these days I might run just kind of a test. Do $100 over 5 days, see how it works, but I need the hook. Do I want to do it on a 50% off sale? My thought process is no, I'm already running a 50% off sale. I should get enough traffic from my existing customers and previous customers. You know, maybe I just bought a collection. Maybe you buy a collection. Hey, I just bought this Goodwill collection or this Craigslist collection. Check out these cards. Is there enough in there? Is there good stuff in there that's going to, so that's a thought. New product release. Topps Pro. I don't think Topps Pro debut. I wouldn't do it on that because it's, Top Series 1. That could be something because people are excited about baseball season. You could wrap it up into holidays. Holidays would be a good time. In fact, that's maybe I'll run my trial around Thanksgiving weekend. People are in the shopping mood. They're looking to spend money. Maybe I'll run a 5-day $100 ad just to see, like, hey, shop my store for stocking stuffers. I think I'll do that. And I can report back. Sal Dougie, good morning. What's happening? Bargain Boxer says 3-hour drive each way, lots of tolls, pay to get in, very few bargain boxes, no signs to the show, not a single sign, 2 thumbs down. So there you go on Schaumburg. 2 thumbs down. Hall of Fame card collector. Yeah, it's I don't want to get into that, but it's not good what's happening over there. James says the other buyer. Chris, what's up? Good morning. Just listing and shipping, not on Spoon River. Good morning. James says Schaumburg only had like 70 tables. Yikes. Shows in the Pacific Northwest have overpriced Julio and Griffey. I'm not surprised by that. Lots of talk about the Peoria one and promoters not good. On the Peoria one? Let's see. Bargain Boxer says I was at the Schaumburg show on Friday. #regret. I made lemonade out of, hey, sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes not every show is going to be a great show. Sometimes you have to make lemonade out of lemons. Hall of Fame card collector ordered 5 boxes of 2023 Bowman Chrome U football. Excited for Friday. I did not buy any. I thought about it, and I just kind of shuffled my feet and waited too long. By the time that I thought, maybe I will buy some, they were already sold out. I didn't want to buy. I wanted to buy from Topps direct because they've been coming earlier than Blowout and the secondary retail places. But no, I did not buy any. I'll probably have FOMO when I start seeing the rips. I'm sure there's going to be retail out, so I will pick up a few blasters at retail just to. How about that? I was so bullish on Bowman U back 2-3 years ago, and here I am, not even buying any. James says Oak Creek was good for a buyer. Okay. Can read between the lines there. Max says a very good crowd in Point. Hasn't wavered a ton in the past year, honestly, but I have a ton of regulars, and I think that's kind of what makes a show. That's what makes a show. Those regulars. A lot of times when I have my better sales days, it's because my regular buyers, like James, is in the room. Merle, what's going on? Hobby Evolution magic number down to 2. Yes. So we've got episode 999 tomorrow. Episode 1000, 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. And then we'll run it back for part 2 on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central. Episode 1000. We'll open up the lines. Click the link. You can join the show. We'll just hang out, a little chit chat. And we'll do it again on Tuesday night. So maybe I will go retail hopping. Although if I go look for retail today, I'm going to rip it today. That's the problem. If it's good stuff, if it's stuff I actually want to rip. So I do want to find something because I don't have anything in my stash. I opened all my stash. So I do want to find at least something to rip on Tuesday night. Max says, and I'm not complaining at all on the trading end. I can sell this stuff online during the week, make more money that way. There you go. Bargain Boxer says, Mike said several guys at the show made $50K. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Max says, but the blame gets placed elsewhere. A lot of people in the hobby are going to need to come to Jesus moment. Absolutely. And not Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. And I've said this for well over a year. If I did not make the jump to do this full time when I did, I would not be doing this full time. If I waited, maybe even 6 months, because I went full time. It's been shit. It's been almost my 2-year anniversary of doing this full time is coming up next week. So it was middle of October. Well, it was first week of October. I expected my employer to not. They typically in my industry don't do 2-week notices. Like, you as an employee give that 2-week notice, but they say, we don't need this. Clean your desk. You're done. But my office was like, can you stick around for 2 weeks and just kind of, tell the guys, share your info? And I'm like, yeah, because that's another paycheck that I'm just on my phone. What are you going to do? Fire me? Because I was already prepared to leave on October 1st. Now you're just giving me a free paycheck. And I'm getting another I think it was half-day vacation. So that they paid out. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll stick around for 2 weeks and not do shit. Abso-freaking-lutely, I'll take your money for another 2 weeks. But if I would have waited 6 months, I would not have done it. I would not have taken the leap. So when people ask me like, hey, I want to do this full time, I don't want to come off sounding like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, which my first 20 minutes, there you go. But sometimes when you're in business, that's what happens. When you have downtimes, you expect the worst, that this is going to last forever. At the same time, when times are good, I know. And that's the thing. Everything is fleeting, the good times and the bad. Because what follows good times are bad times. What follows bad times are good times. And there's some in between in there. When the times are going good, I know that it's not going to last. But for whatever reason, when the times are not as good, I fear that this is status quo, which I guess is good, because back 2-3 years ago, I saw a lot of this from people in person at card shows and a lot of it online. Oh no, the hobby's booming. It's going to be like this for the next 10 years. No, it's not. Don't be. I'm going to steal a line from the vintage Shaq guy. Don't be stupid. The good times aren't going to last forever. But on the other hand, neither are the bad. So I need a little balance and realize that, hey, times are slow. They're not going to be slow forever. But yeah, I don't want to be on this platform and be like, hey, this is great. Sell cards. This is what you need to do. Blah, 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 because it might not work. In fact, right now, it's probably not going to work. So I would, but then at the same time, you say that because I don't want to say that in lie, because I know that's a lie. So I don't want to just say, oh yeah, just sell cards full time. It's easy. It's not easy. And the margins are slim. But at the same time, if I say don't do it, the naysayers, well, you're just saying that because you don't want competition. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Do whatever you want. How about that? You want to sell cards full time? Do it. But don't come back to me and say, well, you said it was great. How come you do this? And blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people that have gone into this. There's going to be a come to Jesus moment. In fact, when I started my business 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, when I was in the planning stages, it's like, I know this boom, and we had even declined 2 years ago by summer of 2021, and we were already in the decline. It's like, yeah, this, maybe my business plan, maybe it's not going to work for the foreseeable future. Maybe I do have to go back into the workforce and have to resign myself to the fact that maybe it's not going to work. At this time, that's not anywhere close to being true, but it could be someday. Maybe next year, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 5, 10, who knows? But I do just need to, I want to keep that in the back of my mind where I want to fight that. I don't want to go back. I enjoy working in my basement with my TV on, and, if I need to step away, I can just go do whatever the hell I wanted. Max says, too many are card rich, cash poor. See it a lot. See it a lot. Going back to Randy, some of those guys might have made 50K. But how much did they have in those cards? Hopefully not 51K. But I see that a lot. You know, a lot of dealers a lot of the higher end dealers that have some of the higher dollar cards, they look at me and they're like, you haul all that stuff in and you're making quarters at a time. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm paying on average, less than a penny per card. So those quarters is like profit. So like when my net is $700, my net is $700. You know, I don't have, you know, it's not like I'm spending 500 to make 700. I'm spending 25 to make 700. Merle says, I'm one of those people that are card rich, but I quit putting my cards on the bed and rolling around at them because it would bend the corners. There you go. You were diving into them like Scrooge McDuck. Price cards to sell, says the bargain boxer. There you go. And sometimes, unfortunately, you have to price them below what you paid for them. You got to time the market, and sometimes we don't time it correctly. Good morning, Herman. What's up? He's on the road for his anniversary and yearly Oktoberfest. Happy anniversary. Happy Oktoberfest. Have fun. Dave wants to know, when does Topps Pro Debut release? I believe it is a week from, I can't remember. It's a Friday or a Wednesday. Let's see. Pro Debut releases October 18th. So 10 days from now, which is a Wednesday. Good. So October 18th. So Wednesday. So a week from this coming Wednesday. Topps, hopefully I'll have it on my doorstep on that day. I did order from Blowout. I don't think Topps ever had it for sale on their website. So Wednesday, October 18th for Topps Pro Debut. Jody says, your social media is one of the reasons you were so successful. Don't stop. That is a good point. And I, 15,000 followers on Twitter, few thousand on YouTube, daily YouTube show. I can scroll this. That's part of the reason why I have a little higher sell-through rate than others may have with similar inventory, because there is a social media presence. So thank you for that reminder, because sometimes I take that for granted, like I have been this morning. Like, screw social media. Well, social media kind of got me here. We've got Junk Wax Twins in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Bargain Boxer wants to know, am I going to Peoria? I am not. With just 100 tables. It's a 3. It's kind of like, I just, I don't know. I could see some friends down there, but not going to make the 100 tables in a $10 admission. Way too rich for my blood. Oak Creek is 180 tables and it's $1 admission. Madison Card Show is 125 tables free admission. So I'm not going to drive 3 hours and pay $10 for 100 tables. So I will not be in Peoria. When it first was released that it was going to be this huge show, I was like, oh, hey, this is cool. But then more and more came out. It's like, I'm going to pass. Tip of the Mid Collectibles. What's up? Good morning. Happy Sunday. Says show was slower yesterday a bit for me. Which one? Which show were you at? Collector's Dream is in the house. Good morning. We've got Shane Koopmans here. Good morning to you. Bargain Boxer says, Max made a great point. How, when can dealers ever shave their own come to Jesus moment to price cards that sell? Or since most bought during the COVID, will they die on that hill and never lower their price? Kind of what I've seen over the course of the last 2 years is, and I've seen a few dealers finally realize it and get, I guess, upset and just completely bail. Sell the cards at whatever and just get out. I'm done. Lost money. I'm out. Some hang with it. I think as time goes on, we're going to see less and less of the COVID pricing. I mean, it's time. Over time, that'll eventually change. Here's the problem we're going to run into, especially if you're a buyer like I am, and you're buying collections in bulk. You're still going to have. We went in that wave. We were just getting out of the 90s junk wax boom, and people thinking, oh, I bought this 1989 top set for $30 30 years ago. Can you imagine what it's worth now? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to tell you, and you're going to be kind of upset. It's worth like a sixth of what you paid for it 30 years ago. Like, no, but it's never been opened. Yeah, there's like millions of those still out there, never been opened. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. And it sucks to break that to people that haven't, but they were like, haven't collected in 30 years. They think it's gone up with inflation plus. Sorry, that's not how it works. People were when I was talking to people that had been out of the hobby for 30 years, people were starting to finally realize that your 80s and 90s cards are worthless. And then guess what happens? COVID hits, pandemic hits, and boom, your 89 Topps boxes just went from $5. I couldn't move them at card shows for $5, and I'm talking unopened wax, not sealed sets. And now they're selling for $50. Here we go again. So now for the next 30 years, we're going to be back on COVID pricing from people not within the hobby. I think Bargain Boxer, from a dealer standpoint, they're going to realize it fairly, if not already, they're going to realize it soon enough that it's time to move on from those prices. We're not going back to that for a while. But we're going to see, oh, well, in COVID, you're going to, and it's different now. You can call it junk wax 2.0 or whatever you want, but now it's retail. When I get Goodwill pallets, it is insane how much like retail, like I almost get excited when I see 89 Topps because I see so much Panini Chronicles and Panini Prism draft picks. I'm like, oh my God, they printed more of this than 87 Topps. This is everywhere. At least the color sells for a quarter out of my quarter boxes. Where we at? Shane says, headed to Cedar Rapids to hang with parents and niece. Does Topps Cosmic have blasters? I don't think so. Was going to check out the Walmarts and Targets while there. I don't believe Cosmic has retail. Woody's in the house. What's up? Good morning. Can you give me some input? Have only been using the eBay standard envelope service for 3 months and have an alarming amount of tracking numbers that don't get scanned. About 19% no scan. So my first question. Are your buyers asking about the tracking? If the answer is no, don't worry about it. If you're a seller using eBay standard envelope, do not look at tracking unless your buyer says, hey, this wasn't scanned, I haven't received this. Then look at the tracking and then go from there. Remember, there is insurance on that. So if they say I never got this, just boom, give them have them open up a non-received claim, hit the refund button, go to the website, and go do your insurance claim. But if buyers are not saying anything, there's no reason to even look at the tracking. Just completely ignore it. Pretend it doesn't exist. Carlo does vintage. Good morning to you. Shane says, sadly, it's very normal and it sucks. I will be in Peoria. There you go. Go see Arn Dog. And that's why I want to get Woody's answer on that, because I don't know, based on the question, I think he's just looking. I don't think he's having issues. At least it doesn't sound like that on the surface. Now, if 19% of your transactions, buyers are reaching out, that is a high number. If you're just looking at the tracking and seeing 19% don't have scans, that's reality. In fact, that's probably low. That's probably a low number, low percentage. Broncos in the house. What's up? He says Oak Creek was solid yesterday as always. And I think that's kind of what I assumed was established shows are not going to waver. Stevens Point, Oak Creek, but a new show like Schaumburg, it was heavily autograph based. So not surprised by that. Collector's Dream says, good time for collectors. Cards are much cheaper now. Absolutely. If your cards aren't selling for a high price, go buy some and make those margins work. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead and we'll get back to the other comments. Woody says, the first month I was getting complaints, but lately only a few. Only worry about the complaints. Do not look at tracking if you don't get a complaint. If you get a complaint, look at the tracking, issue the refund, file the insurance claim. So it sounds to me like that's the average thing. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Seem to be tapering off since I switched to thermal labels, especially. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting observation. Let's see. Carlo does vintage. Got to pick out a nice stout for the 1000 episode. I haven't had a stout. In fact, I went to the liquor store last night. I had some, what the hell is it? It's Allagash Belgian white ale. And I looked and there was a peanut butter stout. And usually like this time of year, I start going for the stouts, but it's like, I'm still kind of, I don't know. I'm still kind of grasping to the ales and lagers that I like to drink in the summer months. I'm not quite ready for stout season. Arnie says, not many cards in London Mills this year. I did buy a cheap unopened box of 1990 Collegiate Collection Clemson Tigers. Very nice. Very nice. Bargain Box says, when is the pandemic? That's when cards are going to go back up. Yeah. Let's see. Donald Davis, he'll be in Peoria on Friday. So we've got Randy's going to be there, the bargain boxer. Dave Arnold's going to be there. Arnie, are you going to be set up? Are you going to be a dealer at the show? Donald's going to be there. Go see Arnie. Let's see. Oh, we already talked about that. Shane says, since I was late, I don't know if this was talked about yet, but did anyone watch that USC Arizona game last night? I did not, but I saw the Caleb Williams play at the end. Game was insane, and the Arizona head coach called the worst play ever at the end. I don't know. I think the worst play call ever was in the Miami game, Miami, Georgia Tech. What the hell was that? Miami could have taken a knee and run the clock out, I believe. Instead, they run it and fumble and lost the ball to Georgia Tech. 2 passes later, Georgia Tech wins the game. Miami was up 3 and decided to run the ball instead of taking a knee. They turn it over, and Georgia Tech scores to win the game. Let's see. Shane says, USC is not a top 10 team. Change my mind. Arnie has 2 tables in Peoria. Go see David Arnold. And that show's in what, 2 weeks? I believe it's the 3rd week of October. Let's see. What weekend is it? I think it's the 21st, 20th and 21st. I'll be at the Janesville Card Show on Sunday, the 22nd. And then the Madison Card Show is Saturday, October 28th. Let's see. Fafita on 4 with 5 TDs, and they don't give him the ball. Fire. Fafita on fire. So there you go. Went over an hour. I was not expecting to go over an hour today. So hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Episode 999 is tomorrow. And then episode 1000. Did I even create a banner? I didn't even create a banner for our 1000th episode. What the hell is wrong with me? Episode 1000 extravaganza is Tuesday, live at 7 a.m. Oh, 7 p.m. Control. Call-ins are how do I want to there we go. Let's add that. There we go. There we go. All right. Shane says back to football. There you go. It's a weird day for me. No Chicago Bears football. They played on Thursday night. So I'll just have, I don't know, I'll probably have a game on in the background just because. Today, let's see, I'm going to ship. Maybe I'll do the list. Maybe I will go in the rec room and I'll do some lot listing today. Do some lot listing. So that's all for today. Back at it tomorrow morning, episode 999, episode 1000. You see it on the screen, 7 a.m. Central, 7 p.m. Central. We will be open up the link will be in the chat for Tuesday shows to call in. Woody says, I'm thinking it's because I'm shipping from a rural area and the USPS may not have updated equipment. It's baffling why this is happening. It depends on, so here's a little insight on eBay standard envelope. They are only scanned at regional sorting facilities. So they're not scanned by your local post office. They're not scanned by the postal employee that delivers the mail. That's why it may show up delivered and not actually get delivered for a day or two, because it's being scanned. Say my regional facility is Oak Creek, Wisconsin. So somebody sends me a card from Arizona and it's scanned, I don't know, in Phoenix at their local sorting facility. And then it might not get scanned again until Oak Creek. It hits the Oak Creek and it says delivered, but it's not delivered for another day or two until it reaches me, because the local post offices do not have the scanners. It's not a USPS tracking. It's something else. Somebody knows in the chat. I've seen it before pop up. So that's why you're probably going to receive people saying, hey, it says it was delivered today, but I checked the mailbox and it's not there. And then you got to basically keep on your notepad, keep a note that says eBay standard envelope tracks at regional sorting facilities. Please give it 2 days after it's marked delivered and it should show up. And just copy and paste that every time you receive that message, because the more you do, the more messages like that you'll receive. And hopefully as time goes by, people will come to the realization of how the eBay standard envelope works. So that's why it's only sorted at regional sorting facilities. All right. So with that, I'm out. Have a great day. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. See you then.